Hello and welcome to Unews for this Tuesday, October 8th. I'm Andrea, Linares. We begin today with President Trump facing some major backlash from both Democrats and Republicans after announcing he was pulling U.S. troops out of northern Syria, where they have been supporting Kurdish forces. Those forces, allies who have led the fight against ISIS. Even the president's strongest supporters are criticizing his latest sudden shift in foreign policy. U.S. officials say they fear the 11,000 ISIS prisoners that the Kurds were guarding could escape, and refugee camps where some children are dancing under the ISIS flag could become more of a breeding ground for terror groups. And now to the latest on the impeachment inquiry. In a surprise move this morning, the State Department blocked a U.S. diplomat from testifying before 3 House committees. Democrats calling the action further proof the White House is obstructing justice and saying they will now issue a subpoena to that witness. Lorraine Cáceres has the latest.
Has been set for that whistleblower testimony. Meanwhile, we're learning that the White House counsel's office consulted with the State Department to block Ambassador Sondland's testimony, which is clear evidence that the executive branch is directing agencies that are under a completely different government branch. Andrea, back to you.
Lorraine, thanks so much for that report. Meanwhile, Senator Lindsey Graham extended an invitation to President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, to appear before the Senate Judiciary Committee to testify about Ukraine. From our nation's capital, today the Supreme Court will hear arguments in 3 landmark cases for LGBTQ rights concerning workplace discrimination. The 9 judges will determine if it's legal under existing federal law to discriminate on the basis of sexual orientation. Claudia Uceda reports from Washington, D.C. Claudia.
That's right. This morning, gay, lesbian, and transgender rights are in the spotlight. The Supreme Court is expected to decide whether millions of LGBTQ Americans are protected under federal anti-discrimination laws, which prohibits employers from terminating workers because of their sex. And this is important because it's the first time the Supreme Court hears the dress code for men, even though she was dressed professionally as a woman. The second case happened in inappropriate personal information with a client. Sarda's sister pursued the case even after Donald died in an accident. A decision is not expected until sometime next year. Now, back to you.
Claudia, thanks so much for that report. And in November, the Supreme Court is slated to hear oral arguments on another much anticipated case, and that is whether the Trump administration can end the DACA program, an Obama-era initiative that protects nearly 700,000 young undocumented immigrants from deportation. In the videos is Angelica Villalobos. She's a business owner living in. Next, the battle over vape. And welcome back. A major new lawsuit in the battle against vaping. 2 school districts are suing e-cigarette giant Juul, accusing it of endangering their students. Carolina Sarasa has much more. We will try to gain ground in the state of New York. A new law in that state could put more money into women's pockets, but as Peggy Carranza explains, women are not the only intended beneficiaries.
To this law, another measure will take effect in January that bars employers from asking applicants about previous salaries.
Many times, beautiful places on the planet is facing a serious threat. Scientists warning that a glacier on the tallest mountain in Europe could collapse at any moment. Rafael Rodriguez has more. When we come back, a tragedy in New York City to honor the 5 homeless victims of a brutal weekend attack. The horrific crime was recorded on a security camera. Nayeli Chavez-Geller has the latest.
With 4 counts of murder, 1 for attempted murder, as well as unlawful possession of marijuana. He is currently being held without bail. In New York, Nayeli Chavez-Geller, Unews.
A Texas man is lucky to be alive after having his shoes and socks literally blown off his feet when he got struck by lightning. Pedro Rojas met up with that man to talk about this terrifying moment and to see how he's recovering. contentious 3-week summit Sunday that could potentially clear the way for some married men to become Catholic priests. The meeting will take up the question of whether some respected married elder men could be ordained in order to help overcome a shortage of priests in remote areas. Pablo Monsalvo has more. And now to the ongoing protests in Hong Kong. A controversial tweet in support of those anti-government protesters by an executive with the NBA's Houston Rockets has caused a firestorm in China. That country, a massive market for the NBA, responded by announcing that they are pulling NBA games from their airwaves. Mariti Marangi has the latest on the escalating battle between an American sports giant and the world's most populous country. Annabelle Sedano with today's tech reports. Annabelle, what do you have for us today?
Hi there, that's right. And we begin with this. A new study suggests that vehicles with hybrid to partake in. I'm Annabelle Sedano, and that was your daily dose of tech news. Have a good one.
So much. And now to some consumer news. New tariffs on European imports are due to take effect in a week and a half, and experts now say it could hit us right in our grocery bills. With Carolina Sarasa, she has a preview of what's coming up next during the second hour of Unews. Caro, what do you have for us?
Thank you, Andrea. We have a lot more info coming up in minutes. It's supposed to be a beautiful yearly event in New Mexico, but this hot air balloon festival turned dangerous. Several accidents caught on video. And also we have a shocking story out of California. A female Uber driver assaulted while on the job. But what's even more shocking, she says her attacker was a woman. We have details. And we'll introduce you to a cheerleader in California who's speaking out about the dangers of that sport after she suffered a series of life-changing concussions. I'll see you guys in minutes. Andrea, back to you.
Caro, thanks so much. We'll be tuning in, of course. But first, coming up next, it was a dream come true for a father and daughter in northern Mexico. What was supposed to be just a small and intimate quinceañera celebration took on a life of its own after a video of the two went viral. Albani Urbaiz has more on this touching story. You can just tell that they had a wonderful time, a wonderful event that they will never forget, as we said. And she looked like a princess, and I'm sure she felt like one as well. That's all the time that we have for the first hour of Unews. I'm Andrea Linares, and I will see you guys when I return from having this little baby girl in just a few months. So for now, stay tuned for the second hour of Unews with Carolina Sarasa. She has lots more info for you up next. Thanks so much for watching, everyone.